Hey guys, welcome into the Realist channel. So glad you could join us. Made this video just to explain what we do here at the Realist channel, who I am, what my take is, what we're up to on this channel, what it's all about. So what is this channel? Basically, this channel is a forum for us to make videos and to have some discussions about international news, contemporary issues, historical events, anything that plays into the current global order or the international system as it is today. We want to talk about it. We want to bring it up in this forum. So what's the structure like? Basically, we put out 3 videos a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and then around the weekend. Mondays are historical Mondays, and what that basically means is we're going to be looking at historical events, mostly from the 20th century. We're going to take an in-depth look at them and explain how they happened, what were the causes of those, and how those crucially affect the international scene today. So for instance, we'll be talking about things like the war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, the rise of China, the geopolitical consequences of World War II, the ending of the Cold War. We talk about these things on this channel because we believe that if you want to understand the contemporary global international world as it is today, you need to understand the international events that have created or led to the international order as it is today. So Wednesdays is Current Affairs Wednesday. So this is where we look at a broad range of different issues on domestic level, on the regional level, on the international level. So what are we going to be looking at? We'll be looking at things like the 2016 presidential election, Trump versus Clinton. We'll be looking at issues in the South China Sea. We'll be examining the general chaos of the Middle East. We'll be looking at global inequality. We'll be looking at economic systems. I mean, so many different issues that we'll be looking at and examining. Again, it can either be on the national level, on the regional level, like Europe or Southeast Asia, or literally the international order. Then there's Fridays. Fridays are sort of just an informal news wrap-up of the week. So I won't be here in the studio. I'll be out in London or in Cambridge, and we'll be just filming different videos, probably 2 or 3 minutes, just wrapping up the weekly news. I want to keep the videos on Mondays and Wednesdays in between 4 and 7 minutes because if you're anything like me, 4 or 5 minutes into watching a YouTube video, I'm already scrolling different pages. I've got so many other different things I'm trying to do. So for your sake and mine, 4 to 7 minutes, guys. So a little bit about me. My name's Brian. I grew up in the States. I was born in Knoxville, Tennessee, the sort of belt buckle of the conservative Bible Belt. When I was 10 years old, family up and moved and went to the San Francisco Bay Area. So I've been in the conservative heartland and I've been in the center of the sort of bleeding heart liberal movement. So I know and have intimate relationships with people on the very right of the political spectrum, on the very left of the political spectrum. But I don't just want to come at this from a American-centric point of view. I've also lived for 5 years in a little coastal city called Dunedin in New Zealand, and now I'm currently living in London pursuing a master's degree. So I feel like living in an international context gives me a little bit more of an internationalist view instead of purely an American one. So what's my take? I mean, why should you listen to this channel? Why should you listen to some guy in a red flannel? The first reason is I have glasses. And anyone who has glasses is automatically qualified to make grand intellectual statements. The second reason you should listen to me is because I have a lot of books. I mean, look at all these books. Well, that's not all my books. I have some in America and New Zealand. They're kind of strewn across, the world, which is kind of ironic given that this is an international show. No, but in all seriousness, this channel has a unique perspective, I think, because we're realists here at this channel. So what does it mean to be a realist? Well, what it doesn't mean is I'm not affiliating myself with any strict academic view of a realist perspective, whether it's in philosophy or international relations. Really what it is for this show is just a common sense, we're going to take a step back, every issue that we examine, whether it's in politics, whether it's in global governance, whether it's the economy, we're going to put all the different viewpoints in, all the different arguments, we're going to step back, we're going to divorce ourselves from any ideology, and we're going to look objectively at every viewpoint. And that's kind of what I take realism to mean, at least for this channel. So what it does mean is I'm going to try to respect and honor different people and their viewpoints. So a perfect example of that right now is the 2016 election. We'll be making some videos about that. I'll be talking about Trump. I'll be talking about Clinton. I'm going to treat each candidate and each candidate's supporters with respect and try to see if we can't get at some rational, objective facts, or at least some sort of perception or conception of where they're coming from, why they do what they do, why they say what they do, why they support who they support. So finally, why am I doing this? Ultimately, the reason why I'm doing this is because I see the way that modern media sort of explains or presents different viewpoints or different people who hold those viewpoints. And I don't really agree with the way that they're portrayed often. So you have different news outlets that lean to the right or lean to the left, and they persuade people, particularly the opposite view, as either ignorant or racist or, fill in X, Y, Z. Z? 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 We're internationalists. Let's go with Zed. And so my mission here is to honor all viewpoints, all people who hold those viewpoints, because I think fundamentally, if you try to cast somebody else, somebody you don't agree with, in negative terms, you're never going to be able to have a dialogue. Ultimately, the goal of this channel is to present all these different issues, all these different viewpoints in an objective and respectable way to see if we can't get deep down into what the truth actually is. Now, obviously, this requires me, it requires you guys to be as objective as possible, but hey, any 25-year-old upper middle class white American can be objective, right? So that's our channel. Feel free to explore all the different videos. If you like them, share them. If you really like them, subscribe. And remember, reality always trumps ideology.